to Jan Sansad, this very special election program 2014. You're watching Rajya Sabha TV and I'm Rakhee Bakshee. This very special election show we are bringing to you from Thiruvananthapuram, and we are right now in this lovely campus of Center for Development Studies. We will be talking about in this particular show about how development should happen vis-a-vis man, vis-a-vis the human beings that are all around it, and how development can be sustainable. So we'll also of course be talking about in details about Kasturi Rangan committee report, and we have a very distinguished panel out here along with the students and some of the voices that are here, and they'll be speaking about it, and there would be an interesting debate, I hope, on the subject as such. Let me introduce to you the panel out here. Mr. C.P. Narayanan, you're from the CPM party, from the left. Mr. George Kurian, you're from the BJP, and you're Dr. Matthews, you're from the Youth Congress. Of course, you're RVG Menon professor, and you're an expert on environment. Professor Harilal, welcome to the show. Professor Devika, welcome to the show as well. And all the students, all of you are here, and I'm sure there is going to be a very interesting debate as we are talking about this report. First of all, to you, because I think the onus is on you. You know, at the center, when it was thought of and when ESA was seen as one of the sensitive areas and Western Ghats was the focus, all these states are in question. How is your party looking at it?
First, I would like to say that the debate is not on the right focus, because we have to understand the issue in a holistic manner. See, this started in, I will be very,
but
very,
why do you think it was not thought of in a holistic manner?
Yeah, no,
I mean, this is a sensitive area regarding logically sensitive areas.
Yeah. See, the issue starts in 2006. Exactly when India filed its nominations with the World Heritage Committee for attack for Western Ghats. A very noble idea, and which would have been very, very progressive, which is a need of the hour. So India mooted that nomination. It has been rejected thrice because the Committee on Indigenous Issues in UN, Committee on Indigenous Issues, objected the Indian nomination, saying that the people of the region is not being taken into confidence.
Other voices, of course. What is your view? I mean, because all these differences are now coming up, very politically sensitive issue right now in the elections.
Kerala BJP is not satisfied with this Kasturi Rangan report. We want Madhav Gadkil committee report should be implemented.
And why do you think so? I mean, of course, Kasturi Rangan came because there were certain gaps.
No, he told that it is started 2006. Actually in Kerala, it started 25 years ago, when the Silent Valley project.
So you're now debating the history of the report, it seems.
And actually these two friends in Kerala, they want votes from the people. They want to protect.
What's your party's stand?
We want the Madhav Gadkil committee report should be implemented.
Let's ask him now. You're a very strong voice, I must say.
We want, see, this is not only regarding Kerala, it is regarding Western Ghats.
It's Western Ghats,
It is
yes.
about that whole...
Kerala is being seen as kind of a specific area.
What we say is that, it is not merely an environmental issue. When you are studying Western Ghats, you have to study it in a multidisciplinary manner. The simple fact that the central government appointed the Madhav Gadkil committee, and then once their report came, they had to appoint a Kasturi Rangan a committee. It shows that they had not done the necessary homework.
I think that's the point which I would like to take on from here. Sir, what he's saying that the homework was not done correctly, your viewpoint?
I think the Gadkil committee did a lot of homework regarding its mandate. That was how to protect the Western Ghats region. First of all, deciding what should come under the Western Ghats region, and what are the dangers that it is facing, and how these can be obviated. The Gadkil committee went into the details, but it had certain gaps, as was pointed out here. There could be some problems in implementing it. So the task of the Kasturi Rangan committee was to advise on how the Gadkil committee report could be implemented. But what happened was, Kasturi Rangan committee has submitted a different report, which has nothing to do with the Gadkil committee report.
That's a very, very big point. I would like to take these voices which are really studying it very well. Professor Devika?
It's interesting because there are gaps. There are a few data gaps, no doubt. But the Gadkil committee did actually utilize the findings of reports approved by the Government of India long back, and actually use scientific methodology as far as possible. And the kind of demarcations that it made were just a framework. You know, in a sense, it also brought democracy into the picture by leaving it to the Grama Sabhas to finally, decide the boundaries of the 3 zones that it set apart. In sharp contrast to Kasturi Rangan report, which just flatly divides natural landscape from cultural landscape. It's very difficult for academics because wherever you need scientific input, the Kasturi Rangan report just says people's opinion. So it's a populist
You used a
exercise.
very important word is democracy. Do you think it's democratic?
See, the Gadgil committee succeeded in highlighting one of the most important environmental problem of the region, and it sort of developed a consensus in favor of protecting the Western Ghats system, and it has also come up with some recommendations regarding use of land and other resources in the area. But there is a major flaw in both the commission reports. That's about cost sharing. It's very important that we protect Western Ghats system for several reasons. For not only for the people of that region, for people of Kerala, people of India in general, and world as a whole, the system should be protected.
Okay.
But who will bear the cost of protecting the system? Can it be put completely on the people of the area there? Because for all our sake, we should protect the Western
Now,
Ghats
I think the report is in public domain, but I think right now, of course, we'll listen to more voices. We have to take a very short break here, but we'll, of course, be talking at length about the report, and there are many voices, as I can see, coming here. You're watching Rajya Sabha TV, and we are bringing you this interesting debate right from CDS in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. You're watching Rajya Sabha TV, and we are talking at length about Kasturi Rangan Committee report, and we're talking about how environment should be protected, how development should be more sustainable, and there are more and more voices, of course. I think the bigger debate also is that how to actually look at growth and also look at people's welfare, and that is the major debate. So very sensitive, that's why.
See, this entire issue got derailed because of an error happened on the part of the Madhav Gadgil. See, if we look at the mandate, the government has given a clear mandate to come up with recommendations after comprehensive consultation with the people. That has never been done by the Gadgil. This is the issue. If you had gone by that, this entire debate, this issue would have been, you do not have been there.
Professor Devka has something to say on this, yeah.
If you read V.S. Vijayan's, interviews, where he clearly says that they really wanted to put up the report for a month on the website to gather evidence from people directly.
What's happening now?
Yes, nothing. And so what happened was they wanted to do it, and they put the proposal to the ministry flatly refused. Later they asked for the report to be translated and circulated at least to major agencies in the region, again refused. In fact, Dr. Vijayan actually says that they were even refused copies of the report individually. So that actually says something more. It's not just, don't put the blame on Gadgil.
Brief voices.
Ultimately, what happened is important. The people in the region, they are scared about some of the recommendations. No, they should be briefed. And if you are speaking about democracy, they should be made part of the process. They should be taken into confidence.
It's very contradictory that you talk about people, and then when it comes to doing
the thing is
contrary to that, that's the major debate.
There is a kind of blame game. Gadgil is blame or the ministry is blame. But ultimately, what happened to the people, whether they were consulted.
I think there are pressures, and I'll be taking voices from you. Are they pressurized? Is the party pressurized?
No. See, the question is, the issue was whether the Western Ghats was our tradition, whether it was UN will be considered as a heritage, world heritage. But here on the ground there was the issue that some 60 years back, people were actually coaxed by the government, at the then government, to our mountain regions. People were asked to go to produce more food because we were facing famine conditions in the 40s and the 50s. So it was to overcome that they were sent. Then the government later on in the next 5-6 decades, they did not properly
attend to those issues. Are you making in this
issues.
Election this a major issue to fight against the establishment?
All these things. See, so once we started with the World Heritage issue, then it is extending to 6 states having very different conditions. And there we had this report Madhav Gadgil
Yeah.
report, my criticism is not regarding Madhav Gadgil, but the government should have
Let's not only talk about report versus report, but also talk about people versus.
Appointed a committee, multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
They should have taken into various
Yeah,
considerations.
let's take it to the people for whom we are talking about. So let me take some voices from some of the students who are here. Some of them want to ask questions. You?
When the report was implemented, the people, the people who are stakeholders in the local areas in the Western Ghats, they were not taken into confidence, and instead of sharing the carbon credit could have been shared with the people in the local area there, and instead it was given over to some NGOs. And
So
the other thing
people
is,
were not
other
consulted.
important thing is, I have done tour of Nilyampati, and there I have seen that nine plantations which were closed. In those plantations, the workers were not given any compensation by the government.
So nothing was actually looked at them, no consultation happened, and that's what I want to talk to Professor Menon about. Why no consultation? It's about people and they're complaining.
Actually, the committee did conduct consultations with invitees, but these meetings were necessarily of restricted participation. So you cannot really have a wide level of consultation by this committee. So that is why they said the details, particularly the delineation of the concerned areas, the 3 zones, should be demarcated in Gram Sabha. That is the largest kind of people's consultation that you can think of. That is what they had recommended. But the government put the report in cold storage.
Yeah. Why in cold storage? You are in elections, you have certain compulsions, do you have? And compulsions
See,
of what kind?
We are a democratic country. We have to go by the law. We have to go by the, people. See, it's not like that anybody can, some reports have been generated and government has to go by that. No, that is absolutely not. See, I would say one thing very strongly. If anybody can, object to that, I'm open to that. See, page 113.
You have now so many voters who will be looking at things. So whether they object or they get subjected to it
See,
will be
the
seen.
most of the villages affected was in 2 districts. Idiki and Kannur. Idiki and Wayanad. But at the page 136 of the Gadgil Committee report itself says shows the visit to Kerala. They have made 5 visits, 2 to Trivandrum and 4 to Trichur. 1 to
You're not
Trivandrum.
satisfied.
So they have never ever visited these 2 places. Then how can they come up with the report?
Do you think it's becoming too politicized?
Earlier I spoke about cost sharing. The people in that area should bear the cost of protecting Western Ghats, and what will others do? That's the question number 1. About that, both the commissions have not really gone into, and the government is silent about this particular aspect. Second one is this, administration. The commissions have
The
not
criticism
really...
I think the ruling establishment is facing, that they're under some pressure, this election time.
The government or the reports have not gone into the detailed, complicated problems of administering the whole report. The most crucial thing is that of Patta. In this region, large number of people had gone, migrated to this region during early part of the previous century as part of Grow More Food campaign and all. Now, most of them are smallholders. There are big plantations and big quarries. They should be treated separately. But large number of smallholders are there, and plantation industry, in fact, most of the industries are dominated by smallholders. In the case of most of those people, sizable proportion of these people, they don't have proper property rights. Pattas are not there. So any kind of regulatory mechanism you introduce, they will be scared. Because now you apply for any kind of clearance, you will have to produce a patta.
How would you look at that?
The issue of patta is very sensitive, it is true. But there is nothing in the Gadgil report which prohibits the giving of pattas. That is given according to existing laws. In fact, the Kerala legislature has passed a law earlier, and there is nothing in the report which prohibits it. Okay, it prohibits diversion of forest land into non-forest purposes.
Okay.
Okay, with certain exceptions. So the issue of patta is highlighted, I think, to hide the real fears which really concern the mining industry.
I'll have
and the
to take
tourism.
another very short break, and that's a compulsion, but we are now going for a very short break, and you're watching this debate on Kasturi Rangan Committee report. We are in Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram and at CDS. Don't go away, we're coming back shortly. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Jan Sansad. Let me take more voices from here. Anybody want to ask questions?
No, it's just a concern because politicians are also sitting in front of us. The concern is this, whether the whole process of making the committee report or in the process of implementation, whether a kind of lobbying is involved, a kind of lobbying or pressure groups are involved, especially from the miners of the Western
Exactly,
Ghats.
because this is the kind of allegation or criticism that you're
Exactly,
facing.
yeah. But I mean, for that matter, government has already come up with the regulations in that ESA area, wherein which the mining has been completely banned. So this is one propaganda continuously going, that this is for the mining lobby that the government is yielding and all. Nothing like that. Government stand is so clear. We can't leave the people at road. We have to take care of them. I mean, no
But
one.
aren't you facing the dilemma of maintaining this whole balance
Exactly.
between
We
biodiversity,
need to
complexities
strike a
and the
balance.
human
Yeah,
existence?
we have to strike a balance between the environment protection and the human rights. We can't, we
Are
can't
you
go
serious
at one
about
side.
it? It is about your political
That is
existence
why
here now.
already the ESAs are being marked. Now no other activities including mining will be allowed in that area. But people should not be put in peril. That is where the government is concerned. My friend may not be concerned because they are not expecting any seat or vote in Kerala. So he can say anything. So that is something different. But we have to go by what the concern of the people.
So let's
need
hear
to
from
address.
him, who is really the rival out here.
There are certain areas. For example, he said everything is banned. But his minister yesterday announced, after this draft notification came, that from all the quarries
And that
which
too
they
came
were
as a
using,
surprise?
you can continue quarrying. This is not just like a test for as a black and white thing. So many things are involved. Various interests are involved. Basic interest is of poor peasants who have gone there.
Exactly.
Which
And
I
that should
mentioned
be the
earlier.
debate, actually.
That also. So this scientific aspect of Madhava Gadgil report, that has to be considered in the background of the people there, their life there.
Let's ask them. They're observing it. You know, we're talking about this macro picture of climate change, actually a very serious issue, how it affects. And here we are also talking about political issues. How do you see this whole dilemma? You're observing.
The important thing, the interesting thing is that the people, it's not as if people in that region are somehow, protected from environmental damage and the rest of us are not. No, I mean, the way things are put, as if that the Western Ghats should be protected. As if that protection will not benefit the people there. In fact, the so-called cultural landscape that Kasturi
this whole
keeps talking about is facing serious ecological damage. They have water crises, they have several other crises.
Exactly.
So if they are not treated as ESA, then how are they going to survive? You know how they'll survive? They will survive on being predators on the rest of the natural landscape. That's how they'll survive.
Why do you think this sensitivity is not really being looked at very critically?
It's not that protection of Western Ghats will not benefit the peasants there or cultivators there. They are going to benefit. But the benefit that we are speaking about is larger. So that the cost should be shared by the society in general. What kind of commitment is there on the part of the government in sharing the cost? Now, this is true of coastal region also. You want to protect coastal region, but the cost will have to be borne by the fishermen there. Okay, they are also going to benefit by protecting the coastal region and the sea. But then the cost cannot fall completely on them. So there should be a proper mechanism for cost sharing, which is very important. And
now the draft is out.
I should respond to one point he made, because I think this is very important. The issue of pata. It's not when you are going to, if this commission reports are accepted and ESA is accepted, we are going to have a regulatory system. Very strict regulatory system should be there. In fact, I am for a very strict regulatory system. But once the regulatory system is there, any application for anything will be verified. And all these people who are not having patas, small landowners, will be in trouble.
At the end of the program, any more voices?
It's not a concern, it's a question to these political activists here. Most of this protest against this Kasturi report is majorly based on two districts, Idukki and Wayanad.
Yeah, he talked about it.
To a certain extent, Kottayam and Kozhikode. But what about the other state, other district people? Are they really aware about these pros and cons of this Kasturi report? Because Kasturi report is covering all the 14 districts in the state.
Yeah, so is there more awareness, and what has been done to create more awareness?
Any other factors?
Any more voices before I take an answer on this?
As a student of development, I have a doubt to all the political leaders who are going to give us more development dreams. As you are saying, people matters, of course. So once we make use of the all Western Ghats, will all the development end or what?
Yeah, so the development is the major concern, and who would like to answer?
See, here generally in this debate, see, one side simply says that all the anxiety is unnecessary and there is nothing to be so anxious about this, nothing to, let me put one thing. See, in that area, after the regulations, the red category industries are being banned. So that is one thing which, forget about everything.
Which takes care of major
but this red category industries include hospitals. So that means that there can't be a new hospital.
But in
So,
report they have.
yeah, see what I'm saying. What I'm saying. These sort of concerns were there. So we can't say that the people were agitating simple for other reasons. There are real concerns. The report was not being comprehensively addressed or has not taken into account the concerns of the people. So the government has to reject it simply. That is why we rejected Gadgil. Then we brought in Kasturi Rangan. Kasturi Rangan came up with the scientific data of, this remote
Dr.
sensing.
Matthew, you can't reject what is about people also. You have to, I think it's election time, take care of that. But I think finally also I want to ask him about this climate change we are talking about. We have seen cyclones, we have seen tsunami. These are the major dangers, and why nobody is looking at the macro picture?
Climate change is the macro picture, there is no doubt about it. But when you talk about Western Ghats, we are concerned with more imminent dangers, like our drinking water, our soil, the fertility of the fields, etc. So I think when we talk to the people, we should not talk about climate change, but we should talk about these issues which concern them directly and immediately. And that's what we are doing.
Any more voices?
The title patta problem, I think it's a much larger problem than what is being projected. Now, I in my fieldwork have come across people with possession certificates which actually say in the certificate that the possessor of the certificate must be willing to be evicted without compensation if the government decides to take over land. And this land is nowhere in the hills. So it's a larger issue
So these
of the
are also
connivance
the
of local
maybe which should be,
bureaucracy.
taken into
And it should be
consideration.
treated separately.
The revenue administration of the region is in real chaos. Nobody knows who possesses land. And
The clarity on these very specific issues, as Professor Menon was saying, as Professor Menon was saying, these imminent issues and very, very real issues. Last question.
As a student of development economics, my concern is development. Leaders articulate that development is for people, but the Gadgil report was kept under wraps until an RTI was launched in Kerala, and then only it was brought out around mid 2012. And we debated the Gadgil report only after it came out. So the same thing happens with.
It is not coming out.
Yeah, transparency is
not
absent.
there. Why transparency is not there? And we are ending it now.
That's
final word.
Perfectly true. There's no transparency
So
at all.
I think we'll have to do another debate. This is such a vast issue, and I wish we had more time to actually look at it. But right now, I think we have to wrap it up all here, and we thank all our panelists out here, all the students who should be coming up with more ideas and questions in future when we'll be here once again. And thank you all for being here on the show. Thank you, Professor Harilal. Hot weather, so you have to make the conditions again, and I think another debate also will happen on this weather condition. But we must say that's a lovely campus, and we are here. Despite the heat, we enjoyed the show, and I hope everybody has enjoyed the show as well. We thank you for watching Jan Sansad. Thank you once again. Namaskar and bye-bye.